The message arrived on a Tuesday morning. Plain and simple, it appeared on every government screen across Earth at the same time. The Galactic Council, after watching humans for 50 years, had finally decided to invite Earth to join their group of space-traveling species. Ambassador Elena Chen stood by the window of her office in New Geneva, looking at the clear blue sky. At 45, with streaks of gray in her black hair, she had spent her whole career preparing for this day. Now it was here, and she felt only worry in her stomach. "Are we ready for this?" she asked, turning to Admiral James Reeves. Elena sat at the large crystal table, her face calm while her mind raced. In front of her, a hologram showed the Council's standard agreement for new species. She had been reading for 3 hours, and with each page, her worries grew stronger. "So," she said, looking up at High Chancellor Zothar, "if I understand correctly, Earth must give up its own military ships and let Council forces protect our planet and colonies?" The tall blue alien nodded. "This is for everyone's safety. Young species often make mistakes when they first join galactic society." Dr. Patel, Earth's top scientist on the team, pointed to another part of the agreement. "And these technology limits? We cannot work on gravity control or faster ways to talk across space. Such technologies are only for species who have been council members for at least 100 years, said a small bird-like alien named Kivra. "Again, for safety." Elena's eyes scanned another part of the agreement. "And Earth must provide the Council with access to all our minerals, plants, and special materials. Your world has many valuable resources," said Zothar. "Sharing is part of Council membership. You will be paid fairly, of course." Elena's team exchanged looks. This didn't sound like joining a group of equals. It sounded like giving up their freedom. "We will need time to think about these terms," Elena said carefully. Zothar's 4 eyes blinked in what seemed like surprise. "These are standard terms for developing species. All members agree to them." Later, that night, Elena couldn't sleep. She walked through the quiet halls of the visitors area of Nexus Station. The artificial gravity felt slightly wrong, and the air had a strange smell. "Trouble sleeping, Ambassador?" a deep voice asked from the shadows. Elena turned quickly. A tall, lizard-like alien stepped into the light. His scales were dark green and a long scar ran down one side of his face. "I am Krell of the Traxian worlds," he said. "I saw you at the meeting today." "Yes," Elena said carefully. "You didn't speak much." Krell made a sound like bitter laughter. "The Traxians are not encouraged to speak at council meetings. We are a developing species, even after 200 years. Elena's interest grew. 200 years? But the agreement says technology limits last 100 years. "The Council changes the rules when it suits them," Krell said, looking around to make sure no one was listening. "They strip your world, use your people as foot soldiers in their wars and call it galactic unity. My kind made this mistake centuries ago." "Why are you telling me this?" Elena asked. "Because I see something in humans that the Council fears," Krell whispered. "You adapt quickly, you question everything, and you have spread to several worlds in your system already, not just your Giu or home planet. The Council usually invites species before they can establish colonies." "Is that unusual?" Elena asked. "It means they're worried," Krell said. "They let you develop too long before contacting you. Now they're rushing to bring you under control." Elena thought about the secret bases on Mars, Europa, and Titan, where Earth scientists worked on technologies the Council had just told them were forbidden. "What happened to species who refused Council membership?" she asked. Krell's yellow eyes looked sad. "None ever have. The Council makes sure you're either too weak to say no or too scared of being alone in a dangerous galaxy." As Krell walked away, Elena touched the small communicator hidden in her sleeve. "Admiral Reeves, we need to talk. I think joining the Council might be more dangerous than staying alone." Above them, the artificial lights of Nexus Station dimmed for the night cycle, while distant stars shone coldly through the viewing windows. The tall, dark-skinned man in the blue uniform shook his head. Ready or not, they've called us to the table. We need to see what they're offering. 3 weeks later, Elena led a team of 12 humans toward the massive space station known as Nexus. The human ship looked small and plain next to the shining, complex vessels of the 27 other species that made up the council. Remember, Elena told her team, we are here to listen and learn. Don't show too much of what we know. The docking area was filled with strange creatures of all shapes and sizes. Some looked almost human, while others seemed impossible, floating. Gas clouds in special suits, tall insect-like beings with 4 arms, small furry creatures that moved faster than the eye could follow. An 8-foot-tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 eyes stepped forward. Welcome, humans of Earth. I am High Chancellor Zothar of the Vrexian Dominion. We are pleased you have accepted our invitation. The ceremony begins in 1 hour. The welcome ceremony was beautiful, with strange music and colorful lights. But Elena noticed how the other species looked at them, like adults watching children who had wandered into an important meeting. She kept her face calm and friendly, but inside, she felt her worry grow. Later, in a large meeting room, Elena and her team sat at a round table with representatives from the council's main species. The room was grand with a view of space through giant windows. Earth has made impressive progress, said a thin, gray alien with large eyes. Moving from simple rockets to basic space travel in just a few centuries. Elena noticed the word basic and smiled politely. We are eager to learn from the council's greater experience, and we are happy to guide your developing species, said Zothar, with what might have been a smile. There is much you can offer the galactic community and much we can teach you. What the aliens didn't know was that Elena's eyes were not just eyes. Tiny computers built into her artificial eyes recorded every word, every small look between the aliens when they thought humans weren't watching. When Zothar leaned close to a small green alien and whispered, "The primitives seem properly respectful," Elena's enhanced hearing caught every word. While the council representatives continued talking about Earth joining their family of worlds, Elena sent a silent message to Admiral Reeves back on Earth's moon base. They're hiding something. These aren't allies looking for equals. Keep working on the projects on Mars, Europa, and Titan. Don't let anyone from the council visit those bases. I think we're going to need every advantage we can get. Outside the windows of Nexus Station, the endless stars looked cold and distant. Elena Chen wondered how many of those stars held worlds that had trusted the council, and what those worlds had lost by doing so. 3 days had passed since Elena's late-night talk with Krell. The council meetings were going nowhere. Every time Elena or her team tried to change the terms of the agreement, the council members smiled and said the same thing. These are standard terms for all new species. After another long day of talks, Krell found Elena in the station's garden area. The space was filled with plants from 100 worlds, all growing under special lights. "Ambassador Chen," he said quietly, "I have people you should meet." Elena followed Krell through less used hallways of Nexus Station. They went through areas that looked older and less cared for than the grand meeting rooms. The council doesn't like to show visitors these parts of the station, Krell explained. They want everyone to see only the shiny, perfect areas. They entered a small room where 3 other aliens waited. One looked like a blue cloud floating in a clear box. Another had 6 arms and purple skin. The third was small and furry with large eyes. "These are my friends," said Krell. "Ziv of the Drexians, Moro of the Morgosians, and Hiv of the Hivert. Like my people, theirs were once proud and free." "And now?" Elena asked. "Now we provide resources and workers for the council races," said Moro, her voice musical but sad. "The Morgosians mine heavy metals for council ships. Many of my people die young from the work. The Drexians once had the best farming technology in the galaxy," said Ziv, his blue cloud form changing shape as he spoke. "Now we grow food for others while the council takes most of our harvest for distribution. Chai-Vi, The small furry one stepped forward. The council is not what it pretends to be. They find new species, promise to help them, then take everything valuable. Why don't more species speak out? Elena asked. Fear, said Krill. Those who complain too loudly have accidents, or their home planets face sudden pirate attacks that the council forces cannot stop in time. Elena thought about this. So, you've formed a secret group? We share information, said Moro. We help each other when we can, and we watch for new species like yours, hoping to warn them before it's too late. Just then, Elena's communicator buzzed. It was a secure message from Earth. She stepped away to read it, then turned back to the group with wide eyes. Our scientists just made something the council said was impossible, she whispered. A way to send messages instantly across any distance. No delay, no signal that can be tracked. The 4 aliens looked at her in shock. Diana Wells stood at the window of Titan Research Base, watching Saturn's rings through the thick glass. As administrator of the base, she was proud of the work her team was doing. Their gravity control experiments were showing amazing results, letting them move heavy objects with almost no energy. Her assistant ran into the room, face worried. Administrator, a council ship just entered Saturn's orbit. They're sending a team to inspect our base. Diana frowned. No one had told her about any inspection. How long until they arrive? 20 minutes. They say it's a routine check, but nothing about this feels routine. Diana finished. She pressed a button on her desk. All research teams secure sensitive projects. Protocol Gray. Protocol Gray meant hiding their most advanced work. Diana had hoped they wouldn't need to use it. Exactly 20 minutes later, 3 aliens stepped through the airlock. 2 were tall blue Vrexians like High Chancellor Zothar. The third was a thin gray alien with huge eyes. Administrator Wells, said the lead Vrexian. I am Inspector Croth. We are here to verify that your facility follows Council technology guidelines. Diana smiled politely. This is unexpected, Inspector. We haven't even joined the Council yet. The agreement talks are ongoing, but safety checks are standard procedure, Croth said. Please show us your research areas. For an hour, Diana led them through labs and testing rooms. Her team had hidden the most advanced projects, but there was still plenty to see. Then, as they passed a large testing chamber, a young scientist named Lee was running an experiment he hadn't been told to stop. A metal ball floated in the middle of the room, held up by nothing. Inspector Croth stopped suddenly. His 4 eyes widened. What is this? This is gravity manipulation technology. Diana kept her face calm. Just a basic anti-gravity test. Nothing special. Nothing special? The gray alien said. This level of control should be impossible for your species. He pulled out a scanning device. The energy efficiency is beyond anything in the Council database for a species at your development stage. Croth turned to Diana, his blue face now darker with anger. This is restricted technology. Your people are not permitted to develop this. Permitted? Diana said. Earth hasn't joined the Council yet. We don't follow your rules. All species in Council space must follow technology guidelines, Croth said. We must confiscate this equipment and detain the scientists involved. Diana stood straighter. Though she was a full foot shorter than the Vrexian, she didn't back down. No. This is human technology on a human base. You have no authority here. Don't be foolish, Croth said. A Council warship orbits above us. If you resist, we can take stronger measures. Diana walked to a control panel and pressed a series of buttons. The lights dimmed for a moment, then came back on. What did you just do? Asked the gray alien. I activated our defense grid, Diana said calmly. Your scans probably didn't detect it because it uses technology you think is impossible for us. On screen, small dots appeared around Titan, all pointing at the Council ship. You're bluffing, Croth said, but he sounded unsure. Am I? Diana asked. Would you like to test these weapons and find out? Or would you prefer to leave peacefully? The 3 inspectors looked at each other. Finally, Croth said, This incident will be reported to the Council, There will be consequences. I'm counting on it, Diana replied. After the council ship left, Diana sent an urgent message to Elena Chen at Nexus Station. They know what we can do now. Be careful. The emergency meeting room under Geneva was packed. Leaders from every Earth nation and colony sat around the large round table. The mood was tense as Admiral Reeves finished explaining what had happened on Titan. The council has given us an ultimatum, Elena Chen said, standing to address the room. Submit to full council authority within 30 days or face what they call peacekeeping action. President Garcia of the United Earth government rubbed her forehead. Can we fight them if we have to? Admiral Reeves shook his head. Their ships are more advanced than ours. We could defend Earth for a while, but not forever, and our colonies would be easy targets. So we either become their servants or fight a war we can't win, said the Mars colony leader. Are those our only choices? Elena looked around the room. Maybe not. I have an idea. It's unusual, but I think it might work. She nodded to Dr. Patel, Earth's top scientist, who activated a hologram in the center of the table. It showed a small device shaped like a ring. This is a working prototype of what we call a wormhole generator, Dr. Patel explained. Based on the spatial folding technology the Council claims is impossible. What does it do? Asked President Garcia. It creates a doorway between 2 points in space, Dr. Patel said. Step through here, come out somewhere else. No travel. Time. Distance doesn't matter. The room went quiet as people realized what this meant. How big can you make these doorways? President Garcia finally asked. With enough power, big enough for our largest ships, Dr. Patel replied. We've found a star system outside Council space. It has planets that could support human life. Admiral Reeves stood up. I think I see where Elena is going with this. Instead of fighting or giving up, we could just leave. Leave? Several voices asked at once. Elena nodded. The entire human race, every colony, every outpost, every person. We pack up and go somewhere the Council can't reach us. That's crazy, said someone. We're talking about billions of people. Is it crazier than becoming slaves to the Council? Elena asked. Or fighting a war we can't win? The room filled with loud voices as everyone tried to speak at once. President Garcia had to bang on the table to restore order. How would this even work? She asked. Admiral Reeves stepped forward. We pretend we're preparing for war. The Council will see military movements, ships gathering, people being moved. But instead of fighting, we're actually organizing the biggest exodus in human history. Dr. Patel added, Our new quantum communication system lets us coordinate without the Council knowing what we're really doing. President Garcia looked thoughtful. How long would this take? 6 months to move everyone, Admiral Reeves said. If we start now. The room went quiet again as everyone thought about what this meant. Leaving Earth, the home of humanity for thousands of years, leaving the solar system entirely. Put it to a vote, President Garcia finally said. One by one, the leaders voted. When they finished, the result was clear. Humanity would leave. 3 days later, the Exodus Directive went into effect. All over Earth and its colonies, people began quiet preparations. On the surface, it looked like military buildup. Ships moved between planets. Resources were gathered. People relocated. The Council, watching from space, thought they saw a species preparing for a hopeless war. What they actually saw was humanity preparing to disappear. In her office, Elena looked at Earth through her window, wondering if she would ever see it again. High Chancellor Zothar stood on the bridge of the Council's largest warship, the Justice of Ages. Around him, 20 other massive ships moved into position around Earth. The blue-green planet looked peaceful from space, showing no sign of the coming conflict. The humans have ignored our final warning, Zothar told the gathered commanders. Their 30 days are up. Our scans show they have gathered ships and weapons, clearly preparing to fight. Now we must show them the cost of defying the Council. The plan was simple. Land peacekeeping forces in Earth's major cities overnight. Take control of key locations. Show such overwhelming force that the humans would give up without much fighting. Begin the operation, Zothar ordered. 500 smaller ships broke away from the fleet, heading down to Earth's surface. They carried 30,000 council soldiers from a dozen different species. Commander Vrax led the first group toward a city called New York. His scanners showed the usual heat signatures of a large city, millions of people going about their evening activities. Remember, minimal force unless they resist, Vrax told his soldiers as their ships descended through the clouds. The ships landed in the city's large parks and wide streets. Soldiers rushed out, weapons ready, moving toward government buildings, power stations, and communication centers. But something was wrong. "Commander," one soldier called through the communication system. "There's no one here." "What do you mean?" Vrax demanded. "The buildings are empty. All of them." Vrax ran into the nearest building, a tall tower with lights still glowing in the windows. The doors opened for him. The computers were still running. Screens showed information, but there was not a single human anywhere. He checked another building, and another, all empty. Across Earth, every council commander was reporting the same thing. London, empty. Tokyo, empty. Beijing, empty. Moscow, empty. Every city, every town, every village, completely empty of human life. Back on his ship, Zothar received the reports with growing disbelief. "How can an entire planet's population disappear?" he shouted. "Check the rural areas, check the oceans." The reports came back the same. No humans anywhere. Just empty buildings, running machines, and in many places, simple recorded messages playing on screens. "Humanity has left the Council's jurisdiction. We wish you peace." Zothar ordered immediate scans of Earth's colonies on its moon, on Mars, on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. The reports were all the same. Empty buildings, functioning. News travels fast, even in the vastness of space. Within days, every world in Council space had heard about the humans' impossible disappearance. No one talked about anything else. On the mining world of Drex, the blue cloud-like Drexians were loading ore onto a Council transport ship. "Did you hear?" One worker whispered to another when no supervisors were near. "The humans are gone. All of them." "Gone where?" asked his friend. "No one knows. They just left." The supervisor floated. "Over. Why has loading stopped?" "Equipment failure," the first worker said quickly. "Very sorry, need to fix." The supervisor left and loading didn't resume for 3 days. Somehow every piece of equipment had problems at the same time. On Morgos, the 6-armed purple Morgosians were having similar thoughts. In a science lab, a group of researchers were supposed to be developing new metals for Council ships. "Lost the data," the lead scientist told her Council overseer. "Very strange. Computer error. Must start over." It was the 3rd computer error that month. On Trax, Krell's homeworld, something even stranger was happening. Entire villages of the lizard-like Traxians were moving to different locations, saying their old homes had environmental problems. The Council representatives couldn't understand why. Tests showed nothing wrong with the old village sites. Back at Nexus Station, High Chancellor Zothar was having the worst month of his long career. Reports of problems were coming in from a dozen worlds. Nothing serious enough to be called rebellion, but enough to cause delays and confusion. "Why now?" he asked his advisors. "Why are all these problems happening at once?" None had a good answer. Meanwhile, far beyond Council space, in a star system with a yellow sun much like Earth's, humanity was building its new home. New Terra, they called the green-blue planet that would be their main world. Through massive wormhole gates, ships brought people and supplies from Earth. The gates were so large that entire buildings came through, ready to be set up on the new world. In a meeting room overlooking the growing settlement, Elena Chen sat, with Admiral Reeves discussing the future. "The quantum communication network is working perfectly," Reeves said. "We're getting messages from our friends in Council space. What are they saying? Elena asked. The council is in trouble. Without human traders and diplomats, many species aren't talking to each other anymore, and the non-council species are causing all kinds of small problems. Not a real rebellion? Elena asked. Not yet, Reeves replied. But they're watching us closely. Our leaving has given them hope that the council isn't all-powerful. Elena looked out the window at the new, human city growing below. Part of her still missed Earth, but this world would be home now. A home without council rules or restrictions. We didn't mean to start a revolution, she said. We just wanted to be free. Sometimes that's all it takes, Reeves answered. One group standing up and saying no. In another room nearby, Dr. Patel was working with his team on new technology. Without council restrictions, they were making amazing progress on things the council had said were impossible. At this rate, Dr. Patel told his assistants, we'll have technology the council can't even imagine within a few years. On his desk sat a small model of their next project, a ship that could travel faster than light without using the wormhole, Gates. If it worked, humanity could explore far beyond their new home. On New Terra's night side, billions of humans slept in their new homes, under unfamiliar stars, and across council space, billions more beings wondered if they too could someday walk away. 6 months after humanity's disappearance, life in council space was changing in ways no one had expected. In a luxury office on the wealthy world of Frex, a blue-skinned business owner named Traz slammed his fist on his desk. What do you mean you can't get the parts? He shouted at the screen. The supplier, a thin gray alien, looked nervous. Many key components came from human factories. No one else makes them the same way. Then find someone who can, Traz demanded. We've tried, the supplier said. The humans had a way of thinking. They solved problems differently. The replacement parts don't work as well. This scene was playing out across council space. Machines broke down. Medical treatments became harder to find. Computer systems ran slower. No one had realized how much they had come to depend on human creativity and human-made goods. At a hospital on Kith Prime, doctors were facing a different problem. The blood cleaning treatment isn't working anymore, a doctor said. We used to get the special filters from human suppliers. Can't other species make them? Asked a nurse. They've tried, but the human filters were made from a special tree that only grew on Earth. We never thought to ask how they made them. On Nexus Station, the council's leaders met in emergency session. The grand meeting room felt colder than usual as the representatives argued. This is your fault, Zothar, said Brel, the Kith representative. You pushed the humans too hard. No one expected them to just leave, Zothar shot back. No species has ever done that before. That's because no species had their technology, said another member. We should have studied them more carefully. The arguments continued as more problems were listed. Supply chains breaking down, trade routes disrupted. Even communication was harder as many translators for difficult languages had been humans. But the biggest problem became clear when Ambassador Krex of the Vrexian Dominion and Representative Jith of the Kith hierarchy both demanded access to the same resource-rich systems. Those worlds have always been in Vrexian space, Krex shouted. But the minerals are needed for Kith medical technology, Jith replied. Before humanity's arrival, these two powerful species had been friendly trading partners. Humans had acted as go-betweens, helping them understand each other and find compromises. Without human diplomats to smooth things over, old rivalries were returning. Meanwhile, on New Terra, humanity was building a new civilization. Cities grew. Farms spread across the fertile land. The first children born on the new world were taking their first steps. In her new office overlooking the capital city of Hope, Elena Chen was reading reports on Earth. Council teams were still there, trying to understand how humans had lived and worked. They're studying our empty cities like they're ancient ruins, she told Admiral Reeves, trying to figure out how we did things. Will they figure it out? Reeves asked. Maybe some of it, Elena said. But not the important parts. Not how we think, how we solve problems, how we work together. A young assistant rushed into the room. Ambassador Chen, 5 ships just appeared at the edge of our system. Council ships? Elena asked, suddenly alert. No, the assistant said. They're Drexian, Morgosian, and Traxian. They're asking for asylum and alliance. Elena and Reeves shared a surprised look. It seemed the ripples from humanity's departure were turning into waves. Bring them in, Elena said. Let's hear what they have to say. The 5 alien ships landed at New Terra's main spaceport. From them stepped representatives of species that had once been under council control. Krell of the Traxians, Ziv of the Drexians, Moro of the Morgosians, HIV of the Hivert, and a new face, Jax of the Pell, a tall insect-like being. Elena Chen and Admiral Reeves greeted them in a simple meeting room overlooking the growing city of Hope. Welcome to New Terra, Elena said. We didn't expect visitors to find us so soon. Krell stepped forward. After you left, we pooled our knowledge. The Drexians had star charts. The Hivert had sensor data. The Pell had mathematics to calculate where you might have gone. Together, we found what the Council missed, Ziv added, his blue cloud form shifting with excitement. And what brings you here? Admiral Reeves asked. Freedom, said Moro simply. The Council is falling apart. Resource wars have started between the Vrexians and the Kith. Jax, the Pell representative, clicked his mandibles together. 3 other major species have stopped attending council meetings. Each is grabbing territory while they can. And what do you want from us? Elena asked. Alliance, said Krell. A new beginning, a group where all species are truly equal. Elena looked at the 5 representatives. Their species had been under council control for centuries. Could they be trusted? Or were they hoping to steal human technology? As if reading her thoughts, HFY stepped forward and placed a data device on the table. We bring gifts, the small furry alien said. Technology. The Council took from our worlds long ago. Knowledge they kept from us. Together we can be stronger than any of us alone. Later that day, Elena presented their request to Earth's government. They want alliance and asylum, she explained. Not just for their representatives, but for millions of their people who want to leave council space. Can we trust them? Asked President Garcia on the video screen from her new office. I think so, Elena said. They were oppressed by the council just as we would have been. But we left to get away from galactic politics, someone pointed out, not to start a new version of the council. Admiral Reeves joined the conversation. The difference is, we'd be equals, and we have something the council never had. True, cooperation. The debate lasted for hours. Many humans wanted nothing to do with aliens after their experience with the council. Others argued they had a duty to help those seeking freedom. I've studied their technology gifts, Dr. Patel said. They're genuine and some are quite. 5 years passed. The Free Systems Alliance grew strong. 23 species had joined, each bringing their own knowledge and skills. New Terra became the center of a thriving civilization where all species worked together as equals. Elena Chen, now 60 years old with silver hair, prepared for a journey she never thought she would make. She was returning to Nexus Station. Are you sure about this? Admiral Reeves asked as they walked toward the ship that would take her. We can't. Ignore the message, Elena replied. If what they've discovered is real, we all face danger. 1 week earlier, a surprising message had arrived from High Chancellor Zothar. It was simple. We need to talk. The future of all species depends on it. Elena's ship was small but powerful, built with technology from 6 different alliance species. It could travel faster than anything the Council had. When she arrived at Nexus Station, Elena was shocked by what she saw. The once grand hub of galactic power looked worn and dimmer than before. Many sections were dark and few ships were docked there. Council guards led her to a meeting room. Inside waited High Chancellor Zothar. The tall blue alien looked old, now his skin paler, his once proud posture slightly bent. Ambassador Chen, he said, his voice softer than Elena remembered. Thank you for coming. High Chancellor. Elena nodded. Your message sounded urgent. Zothar gestured to a chair. Much has changed since you left. The Council exists in name, only now. Half our member species have joined your alliance, the rest fight among themselves for resources. I didn't come to hear about the Council's problems, Elena said. No, Zothar agreed. You came because of what we found. He touched a control, and a hologram appeared between them. It showed something massive and dark moving between stars. What is it? Elena asked. We call them the Devourers, Zothar said. They consume everything in their path. Planets, stars, even the space between them. Our long-range scans detected them 6 months ago. They're heading toward this part of the galaxy. Elena studied the images carefully. How long do we have? 10 years, perhaps 15, Zothar replied. Not enough time for any single species to prepare. Now Elena understood why he had called her. And you think together we might have a chance? Zothar nodded. The Council was wrong about humans. We saw you as primitive, but your species thinks differently. You create solutions others cannot. Imagine. And now your alliance has combined the knowledge of many worlds. What exactly are you asking for? Elena said. Not Council membership, Zothar said with a small smile. Those days are gone. I'm asking if the remaining Council species might join your alliance as equals. Together, we might find a way to survive. Elena thought about the irony. The mighty Council, which had once looked down on humanity, now asking to join the alliance humans had created. I can't promise anything, she said finally. Our Council will need to vote, but I'll bring your request to them and your information about the Devourers. As she left Nexus Station, Elena looked back at the fading symbol of what was once the greatest power in the galaxy. She thought about how everything had changed because humanity had simply chosen to walk away. Now the species that had almost become humanity's masters might be saved by becoming their allies. And together, they would face a threat greater than any had imagined. As her ship headed back to New Terra, Elena couldn't help but smile. Whatever came next, one thing was certain. The galaxy would never again underestimate the problem-solving power of the human species.